Oh, elephants versus elephants? Oh! Yeah, we are back again with another reaction video. History March.
14,000 warriors.
They just uploaded a video. I need to react to more History March content, man. I keep forgetting to react to History March, man, but let's get in it, man.
In battle order on
The largest battle.
Raphia.
Largest battle in Hellenistic history.
Egypt against the vastness of the Seleucid Empire. Two superpowers of the Hellenic world.
I don't know much about this time period, so...
Their respective armies, offering both words of encouragement as well as reminders of past glories and heroic deeds of their ancestors.
Alright.
Interpreters and unit commanders rode up and down the lines, repeating the words of their sovereign so that all could hear. The greatest praises were heaped upon the men of the central phalanxes, with whom both rulers had rested their strongest hope for victory. By all intents and purposes, both sides...
Okay, so what is going on right now? I don't know what the context of this right now. Am I missing something? Is this a playlist or something? I just saw the title. It said the biggest battle in Hellenistic history. So I was like, oh, I gotta react to that. I don't know what is going on. If you know what is going on, please give me context.
It's were determined to settle the Syrian question once and for all. Are you ready for a full
sponsorship? I'm poor. Go check out my Patreon. Support me, please. But I'm poor. I say this in all of my reactions. Let's continue.
It has been over a century since the death of Alexander the Great. In the aftermath of his untimely passing, Alexander's fledgling empire had fractured into a number of successor kingdoms, each led by the various political factions that had made up the late monarch's court. At the head of these newly founded kingdoms were Alexander's former generals, friends, and family, collectively...
Wow. Didn't Alexander die because his generals killed him or something like that?
Referred to as the Diadochi. Vying for domination of the Hellenic world, they regularly squabbled amongst each other in a series of conflicts known as the Wars of the Diadochi.
So this
lasted for nearly half a century.
So this was after Alexander? Wow, okay.
Emerge in the aftermath of the war. In the west, the kingdom of Macedon was ruled by the Antigonid dynasty. To the south, the Ptolemaic kingdom reigned in Egypt. And finally, to the east lay the Seleucid Empire, its vast holdings stretching from Anatolia to the Indus River. Despite its size and seemingly dominant position among the three Hellenic powers.
I wouldn't really call this a dominant position because, I mean, look at this, look at that, look at all of this that you have to manage right here, right? I think Egypt would be more of a dominant position, or even Armenia at that point. Bro, Armenia is quite old. Wow, Armenia is very old. I didn't realize that Armenia was that old. That Armenia existed before then. Armenia was a thing before Turkish people arrived. Wow.
The Seleucid Empire had long been in a state of decline since the death of its first ruler, Seleucus I, in 281 BC. Over the next half-century, the successive Seleucid monarchs that followed struggled to maintain a firm grip on the empire's eastern territories. Their attention occupied by repeated wars with the Ptolemies of Egypt over ownership of the Coeli Syria region.
No.
Seleucid authority slowly began to erode in its distant territories as a result, with many of the empire's eastern provinces breaking off to form their own independent governments.
The border war.
Through a combination of Celtic incursions and a successful rebellion led by the governor of Asia Minor, resulted in the empire losing a large portion of its northernmost territories.
Bro, I actually like that I'm reacting to this because there's a lot of time periods in history that I don't really know about. like this. Like, I have no idea about this time period. Like, I knew that Alexander the Great, made an empire, but I never knew like what happened after he died and it disintegrated, right? And I didn't know like what state successed it. And you have the Roman Republic over there. This is like what, the first Punic War era, right? I just know about that, but I don't know like what else is going on, like around this same time. So this is very nice that I'm learning this, right? This is why I like reacting to this type of stuff, my dudes.
The loss of the lucrative coastal cities in Anatolia was a significant blow to the Seleucid economy in particular, and greatly weakened the empire's position. In 222 BC, Antiochus III, at the age of 18, assumed the throne of the Seleucid Empire as its sixth ruler. Having inherited a truly disorganized state, the young and energetic monarch maneuvered to stabilize his position and revitalize his floundering nation.
Very young. I'm 19.
Antiochus's most pressing issues were a series of fresh revolts in the east, an encroaching Pergamon in Asia Minor, and the century-long territorial dispute with the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt over the Syrian region. Issuing a flurry of orders, Antiochus sent his cousin Achaeus to deal with Pergamon, dispatched 2 of his generals to put down the revolt in the east, while the monarch himself...
And these people are all like Hellen, right? These are Hellenic peoples, right? That is wild. Like, I always used to think that when Alexander the Great, he had a really big empire, but it disintegrated so fast that I didn't really think that there would be like Hellenistic influence in it. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that these people are Hellenic is something.
Himself led a campaign against the Ptolemies in Egypt.
All right.
The young ruler would get off to a rocky start, however, as his generals were defeated in the east, while Antiochus himself was completely repulsed in Syria.
No.
Fortunately,
wow.
Seleucid prestige did not suffer a complete collapse, however, as Achaeus proved successful in his endeavors in Asia Minor.
Why is he not taking the coast?
The Pergamene army back to its former borders.
Why is it not?
In 221, Antiochus was determined to reassert Seleucid authority over the
Why is he not taking the coastal cities? I don't understand.
eastern provinces once and for all. Personally leading a force himself, the young monarch would go on to successfully suppress 3 revolts in the region. In seemingly typical Seleucid fashion, however, while Antiochus was away, Achaeus, who had been in command of Asia Minor, chose this opportune moment to launch a rebellion of his own, assuming the title of king in Asia Minor.
What? Okay, that was completely unexpected.
As Achaeus's power was not established enough to threaten other nearby Seleucid territories, Antiochus did not consider him to be an immediate threat, and thus upon his return from the east,
very interesting.
Syria instead.
Oh, very interesting.
The reign of 219 would prove to be highly successful, owing in part to the defection of the Ptolemaic governor of Coele Syria, Theodotus, who had become unpopular with the Egyptian court.
This is very, very interesting.
Was the same commander who had repulsed Antiochus a few years earlier in 222.
That's not even coincidentally. That's ironic. That is literally ironic. What in the world? The same guy who killed your men, repulsed you from invading, is the same guy who is suddenly turning against you. Okay.
After decisively defeating the Ptolemaic force at Berytus in 218, Antiochus would go on to capture the town of Philadelphia, before marching deeper into the Levant, where he...
Philadelphia? That was a... Huh. I didn't know the name Philadelphia was that old. Like, wow, that is like really, really old. Like, Philadelphia was actually a name like all the way back then, 217 BC. What in the world?
He found himself bogged down, besieging Damascus and Sidon. In Alexandria, the fourth pharaoh of Ptolemaic Egypt, Ptolemy IV Philopator, was slow to react to the invasion of his territories, neglecting to make any meaningful military preparations throughout 219. Ptolemy was also a fairly young ruler, having ascended to the throne just 2 years earlier in 221, at the age of 22. Spurred by the counsel of his ministers, the young pharaoh spent the majority of 218 frantically gathering his army and hiring mercenaries, all the while sending emissaries to Antiochus under the pretense of negotiating peace to buy additional time.
That is BS.
Fortunately for Ptolemy,
of course,
Antiochus
that is
agreed to a
BS.
4-month truce.
Wow.
It seems that the Seleucid monarch believed the war was already all but won, and was now more concerned with Achaeus in Asia Minor, and as such, sought to winter in his home territories so as to discourage his cousin from launching any potential incursions.
Why not finish him off, though?
Preparations complete by the middle.
Why not finish this guy off if you think the war is over? I like the way how he's thinking. I like his way of thinking. Like, he's really playing his cards properly right now. Like, and it seems to be working. So this guy really seems to be a smart fella. I actually like it. Antiochus III.
217. Ptolemy IV marched his army from Alexandria into the Levant to confront Antiochus and the Seleucid host, seeking to settle the Syrian question once and for all.
No.
The pharaoh brought with him a force of around 75,000, of which 5,000 were cavalry,
that is
in
big.
addition to 73 elephants.
That is actually big for this time.
Meanwhile, Antiochus had approximately 68,000 troops under his command, 6,000 of which were cavalry, and 102 elephants. In accordance with Hellenic military doctrine of the time, both commanders understood that the number of phalangites fielded by either side would prove to be especially crucial in the upcoming struggle. Here, the Ptolemaic army held the advantage in numbers, with around 45,000 phalangites.
Oh, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be crazy, isn't it?
Important to note, however, that 10,000 of the Seleucid phalangites were the Argyraspides, also known as the elite Silver Shields. They were the premier infantry unit of the Seleucid Empire, with a long and revered tradition of military service dating back to Alexander the Great himself.
I love this map, dude.
The elephants.
This map is like one. I think this is the best map that I have seen. I reacted to a good few history channels. This is bro. I definitely got to react to more freaking History Marche, man. They're entertaining. They're very entertaining. But History Marche has some. They got some really good maps, y'all.
The others brought to the field were from India, which are believed to have been much larger and stronger than Ptolemy's African elephants.
Whoa, Indian elephants. Wasn't this the same? Wasn't India? Didn't Alexander the Great get defeated in India, right? By elephants, right?
Near the small town of Raphia, where sources suggest that Antiochus purposefully ordered his army to make camp just 1 kilometer away from that of Ptolemy's.
That's smart. That is very smart.
For 5 days, the opposing forces skirmished with one another, regularly clashing over water places and whilst foraging for food. It was during this time that Theodotus, the former Egyptian governor of Coele-Syria, who had defected to the Seleucids, would attempt an act of extreme daring. After the skirmishing had concluded on
what is he going to do?
Dawn,
what is he going to do?
The Ptolemaic camp, accompanied by 2 others.
What in the world?
As Ptolemy's army.
What? You just casually walking in? Hello? He betrayed them, right? What? I don't understand. How is he casually walking in?
Included those from all across the Hellenic world, the covert party's dress and appearance were nothing out of the ordinary, and as such, they managed to slip past the camp's guards without attracting any suspicion.
Oh, he disguised.
Serving under Ptolemy, Theodotus had become familiar with the pharaoh's tastes and habits. He also made note of the location of the royal tent during the day's previous skirmishes, which had strayed relatively close to the Egyptian camp. Making his way past the pharaoh's attendants, Theodotus entered the royal tent.
Oh.
However, the pharaoh was not present, and the would-be assassin instead struck down the Egyptian ruler's unfortunate physician, Andreas.
My man just put an Assassin's Creed. This is literally Assassin's Creed in real life. What the heck? This is literally the straight out of Assassin's Creed. Oh my gosh. That is mad. This is literally Assassin's Creed. I don't know what else to say.
Afterwards, Theodotus managed to safely return to the Seleucid camp.
This is straight out of Assassin's Creed. This bro, what? There's no way. He just silently killed him and he's able to get back no problem after just casually just sneaking in. Dude, this is literally Assassin's Creed in real life.
His plot having only been discovered just as he made his exit.
That is what, bro, that is literally like how in Assassin's Creed, like when you're about to like leave, you're about to like exit, because like then that's when everyone discovers that, oh shoot, someone's dead, oh no. Freaking hell.
After 5 days of skirmishing, Ptolemy was determined to do battle, and gave the order for his army to assemble.
That is
seeing this, Antiochus
that is so impressive.
do the same. Both armies formed up with their respective phalanxes in the center.
My phalanx. Phalanx versus phalanx. Which phalanx is better? Holy crap. This is gonna be mad.
The Egyptian phalanx was a unit of Libyan peltasts, followed by the pharaoh's own royal guard further down the line. On the Egyptian far left, Ptolemy placed a portion of his cavalry, closely supported by a contingent of Cretans.
Alright.
Right of the Egyptian center were units of Greek mercenaries, followed by various contingents of allied troops, consisting mostly of Gauls and Thracians.
Oh, okay.
On these units, Ptolemy placed the remainder of his cavalry. Of the 73 elephants available to the Egyptian forces, 40 were placed on the left flank, with Ptolemy himself positioned among them, and 33 on the right. Antiochus, meanwhile, positioned himself on the Seleucid right, directly opposite Ptolemy, with some 4,000 cavalry, split into 2 units of around 2,000 each. Next to the cavalry, the Seleucid center right was manned by a contingent of Cretans, followed by units of Greek mercenaries, bolstered by an additional 2,000 men from the Seleucid phalanx. To the left of the Seleucid center were various units of light infantry and javelin men gathered from throughout the empire's vast Persian and Arabian territories.
Okay.
Approximately 2,000 cavalry rounding out the extreme left flank. Finally, around 60 elephants in front of the Seleucid right, with the remaining 42 being positioned ahead of the left flank.
I want to see these elephants in battle.
Truly befitting a clash between superpowers of the Hellenic world, over 140,000 warriors across both sides now stood arrayed in battle order on the desert fields of Raphia.
That is so wild.
Egypt against the vastness of the Seleucid Empire.
That is crazy, man.
Their respective armies, offering both words of encouragement as well as reminders of past glories and heroic deeds of their ancestors. Interpreters and unit commanders rode up and down the lines, repeating the...
But their ancestors are the same. Don't they basically have the same ancestors because they're Hellenic, right? They're Hellen people. So their ancestors are the same.
The words of their sovereign, so that all could hear. The greatest praises were heaped upon the men of the central phalanxes, with whom both rulers had rested their strongest hope for victory. By all intents and purposes, both sides were determined to settle the Syrian question once and for all.
All right.
The battle began with both sides ordering their elephants to charge.
Oh, elephants versus elephants? Oh! Okay, this is what I want to see.
It states that Ptolemy's smaller African elephants could neither bear the smell, sound, nor sight of their Seleucid Indian counterparts, and as such were at a significant disadvantage, with many refusing to engage, and instead turning back and running amok upon the friendly lines.
Oh, dang. Oh, bloody hell, man.
Ptolemy's elephants managed to engage the Seleucids.
They're gonna get destroyed.
Quickly overwhelmed.
Yeah, obviously.
Meanwhile, Antiochus, at the head of his cavalry, wheeled around the elephants in front of him and charged the Egyptian horsemen.
Oh, so the leaders are already fighting. Jeez, man.
Simultaneously, the Seleucid Greek mercenaries launched their own vicious assault upon the now disorganized lines of the Libyan peltasts.
Well, the Seleucid is really doing a lot.
The Ptolemaic left wing slowly began to give way,
Yeah.
eventually being routed entirely.
Bro, the battle just began. You're routing.
The Ptolemaic forces fared better, however.
Okay.
Elephants would likely be too afraid to even approach those of the Seleucids. The commander of the Egyptian right wing instead led his forces in a flanking maneuver. Bypassing the charging elephant contingents entirely, the Egyptian horsemen threw themselves upon the flank of the Seleucid cavalry.
Okay, Antiochus, what are you doing?
The Ptolemaic...
What is Antiochus doing? They're fleeing. Antiochus, flank them. Antiochus, flank them. Do a flanking maneuver. You wanna know what Antiochus can do? Bro, holy crap, dude. If I was Antiochus, I would take these guys in the center, like hold them in the center, take these guys, flank all the way around, just wipe this out right here, boom. If not, take these guys in the center, charge up front, then go flank in the back, boom, encirclement, destroyed.
Greek mercenaries also moved to engage the lightly armored javelin men opposite them.
Okay.
These assaults succeeded in driving back the Seleucid left, with both sides essentially trading victories on either flanks.
Bro, Antiochus, what are you doing?
However, had chosen to pursue the routing Ptolemaic cavalry that had opposed him, believing the day to have already been won.
Oh my gosh, Antiochus. Wait, Antiochus is 18, no wonder why. Oh no, Antiochus, you could have easily, don't tell me the Antiochus because of your naiveness and your stupidity. Oh my gosh, Antiochus.
Meanwhile, after having been pushed back, had moved to take command of his phalanx in the center.
Oh, yeah, these are still phalanx.
Himself before both armies, the pharaoh ordered his men to charge. Here, the fight between the two phalanxes was chaotic and bloody, and after some time the outnumbered Seleucid center was forced to give ground.
Oh no!
Began to break and flee, and soon remained to hold the line.
No!
Would eventually break under the overwhelming pressure, however, and with their defeat, the Seleucid center ceased to exist.
Antiochus, you're dumb.
Not realized the critical situation.
Antiochus, you are actually dumb. This is probably the dumbest thing that I've ever reacted to. Hands down, the dumbest person that I've ever reacted to.
That he was in, still under the belief.
Oh my goodness, Antiochus, bro, look. I don't think it would take a genius to realize that, hey, look, if your army, if a piece of an army is fleeing, right? You just let them flee and you take the army that you have that broke through their lines and then you go on flank. It always works. This is ancient tactics. This is literally ancient tactics. You just hit them from the back. Not like that. Not in a dirty way. Not like that, alright? Man, my brain. I have such a dirty brain. But seriously though, you just simply, he could have easily, bro. Blows my mind how he lost his battle.
His army had achieved similar success across the entire front. It was only when one of his older officers pointed out the cloud of dust raised by the phalanxes was moving towards their camp that he finally understood what was happening. The Seleucid monarch desperately galloped back towards the battlefield in the hopes of aiding his center, arriving only to find that the entirety of his line had all but collapsed and in full retreat.
He had no center, bro.
Antiochus retired to Raphia with his remaining forces, while Ptolemy retired to his own camp. The next morning, Antiochus withdrew with what remained of his army to Gaza, and after negotiating a ceasefire to collect the dead, abandoned the region of Syria Coeli entirely. The Seleucid losses are estimated to have been around 10,000 infantry and 300 cavalry, with another 4,000 taken prisoner.
Okay, not crazy.
Are estimated at around 1,500 infantry and 700 cavalry, with
decisive victory. Decisive victory. And he had a bigger army. Decisive victory.
Of their elephants either killed or captured.
Yeah, but still, this is a decisive victory. I mean, look at the casualties, man.
The battle at Raphia was one of the largest the Hellenic world had ever seen. In what many historians assume to be due to his youthful inexperience, had the Seleucid monarch instead immediately moved to support his center phalanx with his elite raw.
That's what I was saying. That's literally what I was saying, man. Or he could have just took a wide turn and support these guys right here. You know what I mean? I'm saying this and I'm 19 and this guy is 18.
Cavalry, rather than merely assume his victory was all but assured, the battle could likely have ended very differently.
It should have ended right there.
It seems that
it should have ended right there.
Failed to recognize how heavily outnumbered their center phalanx was in comparison to that of the Ptolemies. Though it is possible they may have believed that the elite unit of silver shields would have made up for any disparity in numbers. Regardless, given that the military doctrine of the time heavily relied upon the strength of an army's phalanx, it appears that in addition to his relative inexperience, Antiochus may have also been overconfident due to his previous success.
Way too confident
In the campaign.
Way too cocky and confident.
Comfort in the fact that he had managed to achieve a local victory with the troops he led personally on the battlefield, and instead chalked his overall defeat up to a lack of spirit and courage amongst the rest of his army.
Bruh. Cope. That's literally cope, man.
Armed that Ptolemy might seek to press his advantage, Antiochus quickly sent a delegation to negotiate official peace terms. As Ptolemy was busy reconsolidating his power in the recently rebellious and now freshly reconquered region, the two rivals agreed to a 1-year truce. With such matters taken care of for the time being, Antiochus shifted his focus to Asia Minor, making preparations and steeling himself for a confrontation with his treacherous cousin, Accius.
Right.
Despite the setback, the young Seleucid monarch did not find himself discouraged in the slightest, however, and would continue.
You know what? Even though he was a bit dumb, no, not even dumb, he was very dumb. I actually respect the fact that he's very energetic and, he's not like giving up and like not losing all hope. Because right now I am reacting to Alexander the Great by Epic History TV campaign. And, bro, what just happened, man? Like, Alexander just completely just steamrolled, the Persian Empire based on what I reacted to, and the king just completely more or less gave up after a few shots of trying. But Antiochus right here, man, he's not giving up, right? So I respect that. I like that.
Continue to work tirelessly towards revitalizing his empire, eventually becoming known to history as Antiochus III the Great.
Whoa, the Great. Okay.
By joining World of Warships.
Okay. That's actually okay. That's very nice, man. Look, man, if you have any suggestions, tell me, man. I gotta react to more History Marche. No cap, man. I was supposed to react to History Marche the Samnite War. Someone told me to react to that. I don't know if they still watch my channel, but if you like my channel, subscribe for more content like this. If you like history, subscribe. Make sure to like the video. Check out my Patreon if you want to donate to me. If you do donate to my Patreon, usually I react to videos quicker if you're a Patreon like donator, even though I have no one donated to my Patreon. I'm still a small YouTuber. So, but it's gonna get to that point, right? Eventually speaking, when I get more people on my channel, it's gonna get to that point where, a lot of people are gonna be suggesting. Even now, there's quite a bit of people suggesting for me to react to this, that, and the next, yada yada. And I'm in a crisis where I need to move out of where I live, and guys, I'm gonna have to be like working and whatnot. I'm still gonna be doing YouTube, but I'm not gonna be doing it like every day, you know what I mean? So believe me, the Patreon will be useful in the future, right? I just created it, but it will be useful. So guys, give it a shot, check it out, and yeah, man, stay tuned for more videos, and goodbye. Thank you for taking your time to watch my reaction.